Assalamualaikum and very good day. My name is Nurhuda binti Jailani and my supervisor is TS Dr. Noraini binti Marsi. For my title project is Utilization of Palm Empty Fruit Bunch, which is Pefb fiber into polymer composite for a deck panel. In this slide, I will explain to you about the introduction, problem statement, research objective, research scope, literature review, methodology, and the conclusion. The study will present the utilization of palm empty fruit bunch (Pefb) fiber into polymer composite for deck panel application. Different composition ratio of Pefb fiber will be used and it will be mixed with other raw material. The optimal characteristic of Pefb polymer composite will be identified at the end of this research. Problem statement. Biocomposite is a new alternative structural material that created by combining the natural fiber and petrochemical-based polymer. The more the usage of natural fiber, the less the hazard of the product, and automatically the usage of the petroleum-based polymer will be reduced. In this research, palm empty fruit bunch, which is Pefb fiber, will be used as it is one of palm oil mill residue waste. A polymer composite from Pefb fiber and LDPE waste plastic was proposed through a waste composition ratio. It can help Malaysian economy to provide a lower cost of raw material as to replace the expensive raw material, and it could optimize the usage of Pefb waste. Okay, in this research, there is two objectives. First, to formulate the utilization of Pefb fiber in the form of polymer composite for deck panel. Okay, secondly, is to evaluate the physical and mechanical properties of polymer composite from the composition of Pefb fiber and the LDPE plastic waste. Okay, the research scope first is to determine the Pefb fiber and LDPE plastic waste composition ratio to produce Pefb LDPE polymer composite. There is 5 different ratios of raw material will be used. Okay, and we will prepare 5 sample, which is A, B, C, D, and E. And the difference is at the Pefb fiber ratio, which is from 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. The LDPE plastic waste will be the same, which is 0.2. Same goes to polyurethane resin, which is 3, and hardener, which is 1. Okay, secondly, is to evaluate the physical properties of polymer composite from the composition, which is the density and porosity test will be held, and then the SCM analysis, which is advanced compound microscope analysis. Okay, third is to evaluate the mechanical properties of polymer composite by undergoing the tensile test, fracture test, Young models test, sound absorption test, fire resistance test, leaking test, and impact test. Okay, next, literature review. Okay, according to the Sirim Berhad Malaysia, an oil palm mill produces 23% of empty fruit bunch for every ton of fresh fruit bunch. Muhammad state from previous research has shown that the properties of natural fiber composite vary due to the various types of fiber, sources, and moisture conditions which are influenced by the factor. Natural fiber from plants have very high strength and can be utilized for many loading bearing applications because they have special advantage in comparison to synthetic fiber in that they are abundantly available from a renewable resources and are biodegradable. Several studies that have found Pefb that which has cellulose content of 48%, 49.8% and 65% provides strong tensile support when reinforced with a thermoset and thermoplastic polymer. Pefb fiber constitute a renewable material used in the construction industry because of its high neutral cellulose fibril, which have been demonstrated to have the potential to achieve high specified strength, stiffness in polymer matrix, durability, and satisfactory green composite products. Hanan also states the tensile strength of oil palm empty fruit bunch or nerve woven fiber reinforced epoxy base bilayer composite has been increased in hybrid formulation by increasing the Pfb ratio in the hybrid composite. Next, I will proceed to the methodology. Okay, this is the flowchart of research methodology. Okay, we will start with the literature review by studying article and make a review. Next, prepare the raw material with a different ratio, and then prepare five sample, and then undergo the physical and mechanical testing. After the testing, we will collect all the data and analyze and do some discussion. And then we will conclude and complete the final report. Okay, the raw material. The natural fiber that will be used in the mixture of is the mixture of PEFB fiber with LDPE waste, polyurethane show A90 which is resin, and hardener in specific ratio composition. The palm empty fruit bunch fiber will be collected at the nearest oil palm factory, which is Bukit Pasir Palm Factory. Okay, this is the example of PFB fiber and polyurethane shore A90 that will be used. Okay, next, the process of sample preparation. We will start from a drying process, then grinding process, refining and weighing process, lastly mixing and curing process. Okay, this is the example of a polymer composite sample that we will use in this study. Okay, first the drying process. The PEFB fiber will be collected from the factory after it will be dried for 5 days as to eliminate any water molecule from the fiber to ensure the quality of the fiber will be maintained. Okay, secondly is grinding process. The extracted fiber from PFB after the drying process will be grind using a high-speed grinder for multiple times until it produces a fine stack of fiber strand. Okay, third is a refining and weighing process. The grinding PEFB will undergo the refining process. Then the selected fiber will be weighing according the ratios 0.0, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 and 0.8 into 5 gram, 10 gram, 15 gram, 20 gram and 25 gram respectively by using an analytical balance. And lastly is mixing and curing process. All the raw material will be mixed together and the mixture will be poured into the mold in 5 mm of thickness. Then it will be observed within 48 hours for curing time. Research testing. In this study, we will undergo 2 types of physical testing and 7 types of mechanical testing. We will use the sample that have 5 mm of thickness for all testing. Okay, we will go to the physical testing. First, density and porosity testing. We will follow the ASTM C20 standard and use 5 of square sample with dimension 50 millimeters of length and 50 millimeters of width. Okay, secondly is advanced compound microscope, which is SCM analysis, is to determine the type of composite structure of polymer composite sample. We will use 5 of square sample with dimension 50 millimeters of length and 50 millimeters of width. Okay, next, mechanical testing. Okay, for mechanical testing, we will have the tensile testing. They follow ASTM D7264 standard, which is provide information about tensile mechanical of materials characteristic. We will use 5 of rectangle sample with dimension 100 millimeters of length and 20 millimeters of width. Okay, second, fracture testing. Fracture testing is to study the impact of the crack-like defect in structure. We will use 5 of rectangle samples with dimension 140 millimeters of length and 90 millimeters of width. The third mechanical testing is Young modulus testing. We will use 5 of rectangle sample with dimension 100 mm of length and 20 mm of width. This is to measure the rate of change of strain that to determine the sample behavior under an axial stretching load. Okay, and then sound absorption test that follow ASTM E1050 standard. It will measure sound impedance of material, and we will use 5 of circular sample with diameter of 28 millimeters. Okay, the fifth mechanical testing is fire resistant test with standard ASTM D3801. We will use 5 of rectangle sample with dimension 100 mm of length and 20 mm of width that to measure the comparative burning characteristic of polymer composite. Okay, then leaking test. Leaking test is to detect any leakage within the specimen of sample. We will use 5 of square sample with dimension 90 mm of length and width. Lastly, impact test. We will follow the ASTM D7136 standard. It will measuring the impact of energy of the material that represent its toughness. We will use a 5 of square sample with dimension 50 millimeters of length and 50 millimeters of width. As for conclusion, the purpose of this analysis has been studied and will be reached after the physical and mechanical testing are be done on the different ratio of Pefb reinforced with the polyurethane resin. The result will be shown, and the best characteristic of Pefb polymer composite in terms of their physical and mechanical properties. Then, the optimum ration composition will have the possibilities to be applied into a deck panel from a natural fiber polymer composite, which is palm empty fruit bunch Pefb fiber. From this analysis, environmental challenge will be minimized and the natural resources will be protected continuously. Okay, this is my Gantt chart for completing this project from week 1 until week 15. That's all from me. Thank you.